What is up, guys? Delboy here. So Joyce steamrolls Lenroy Thomas to become the new Commonwealth Heavyweight Champion. This fight was... The intrigue in regards to this fight was how Joyce would approach it for me. So far in Joyce's pro career, he's actually shown us a few different things compared to when he was an amateur. When he was an amateur, he was solely a pressure fighter from what I saw. You know, he liked to come forward, make the most of his size, use his high volume of punches and just grind down the opposition. And that's how he really approached the amateur game. But in his first 3 fights as a pro, he was a little bit more cute. He used his feet a bit more. He was using his jab a lot more. He boxes a lot more in the pro game. And I was intrigued to see whether he would revert back to type in this fight, because Lenroy Thomas is a guy who likes to stick and move. He likes to pop that jab, look for the counters and move and be elusive. And as a result, we saw the old Joyce from the amateurs, where he likes to steamroll forward and essentially break the will of his opponent. And that's what he did here tonight. In the first round, Joyce comes out very aggressive on the front foot. He actually gets caught with a few shots from Lenroy Thomas, particularly that straight left down the pipe. But these shots were having no effect on Joyce. He was quite open actually defensively, which could be a concern later on, but Lenroy didn't really have enough to trouble him. As the round went on, Joyce started to get up close, land some clubbing hooks on Lenroy's head. He started to work the body well as well. He actually gets dropped in round 1 by a left hook to the body. Thomas beats the count and makes round 2. In round 2 again, the pressure from Joyce is immense. He gets Lenroy into a corner, lands several clubbing shots. Again, a lot of these are not actually that clean, but it's just the sheer volume and the sheer work rate of Joyce made Lenroy Thomas take a knee in the second. But again, Lenroy gets up, beats the count, and he actually starts to fight back a little bit. He lands some good body shots on Joyce, but Joyce then lands a short clubbing left hook that sort of connects on the tip of the chin, and kind of a delayed reaction. Lenroy Thomas goes down and he can't beat the count. So yeah, one-sided fight. Joyce did the job and he reverted back to type in regards to being a pressure fighter. If he's going to continue using that pressure fighter style, he does really needs to tighten up a bit. His guard needs to be a lot tighter because it's very loose right now. Straight punches when Joyce comes forward are always going to find the target because his guard is so loose. So he needs to tighten up the guard and also maybe move his head a little bit on the way in. I know he's a big lump, but if you're going to come forward like that, you know, you need to move your head in some fashion or some shape and form. So yeah, a tighter guard, a bit of head movement, and also I'd like to see Joyce use his jab on the way in a little bit more, because he kind of just wades in looking for clubbing shots at the minute. And yeah, I think it was a good tactical move to go back to that style though, because Lenroy Thomas to me was always a guy who looked susceptible to pressure. I mentioned it in the prediction / preview video for this fight. I felt in the Dave Allen fight, there were times when Lenroy looked like a little bit more pressure and he would have been in a bit of trouble. You know, he has that aura about him. And I feel that Joyce and his team selected the right tactics for this fight. Obviously, if Joyce does get past a certain level to world level, it will be interesting to see whether that pressure fighting style has any effect and how top level opponents will deal with it. But yeah, decent performance from Joyce. He did what he had to do. Again, defensively, there are flaws there. He does get hit, we know that. His hands are not quick. They're really not. But one thing about Joyce that does get a little bit underestimated is he has actually got relatively quick feet. He was cutting off a ring really quickly, and he wasn't giving Lenroy any space to breathe. And even when I've seen box on the back foot, his feet are not slow. You know, his feet are not slow, but his hands are very slow, and he's very rigid as well. So yeah, interesting prospect. Credit to him for becoming the Commonwealth champion in his 4th fight. Where does he go from here? I mean, I would still like to see that Chisora fight. I think he'll learn a lot in that fight. You know, Chisora's tough. He's not going to fall to bits in 1 or 2 rounds. He's going to give Joe a lot of things to think about. So I would like to see the Joyce versus Chisora fight next. Failing that, maybe fight the winner of Hughie Fury versus Sam Sexton for the British title. So yeah, I'm hoping to see Joe Joyce now take gradual step-ups and hopefully get to world level. We'll see how it pans out. What did you guys make of his performance? Peace.